Back Racers to For Your Morning Coffee, episode 2 of season 2. I know, it's different. It's a video recording instead of a live stream. A couple of reasons for this. One, I don't really have enough time to put aside to do the live stream. Two, I want to increase the quality of the video, which recording it like this and having images input throughout the video of what I'm talking about is going to increase that, and hopefully it's more interesting to watch for you guys. And thirdly, doing shorter live streams when I'm trying to hit like 3 hours for my gaming live streams, I think it might mess with the algorithm as well, with views, watch time, likes, that kind of stuff. So trying to keep it under wraps, and this is the new format we're going to do. So it is Friday the 14th. Obviously it's Valentine's Day 2020. Of course, if you do have someone that you love, go show them that you love them. And that's all I'm going to say about Valentine's today, because we're here about gaming. We're here about Gran Turismo Sport. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Big World Series, the first round this weekend in Sydney. So we're going to talk about that. Obviously, the new season, the pre-season of the FIA starts next week as well. So we're going to talk about that. And that's what we're going to do. But first of all, I want to thank the channel members for supporting the channel. New tiers to the channel memberships. I've changed it all around, which I'll show you in a second. There's tier 1, tier 2, and max tier level, which obviously gets you a couple of more things. So if you want to find out what you get, click on the join button on the channel and see what kind of perks you get. So tier 1 supporters are Smirnof, R4M Cedric, Racer294, Jarno Glass, Adam number 1, or Adam or 3 number 1, Mark Thomas, Dylan Cliff 111, Tshego Thamaga, SpawnBlack, Eckyboy 555, MrOap, Shivguru, Rao, and Jordy. Woo! Jordy hitting his 6-month subscription as well. Thank you, dude. And the tier 2 supporters are evilNorbert, Binary Theory, Chris Mucklow, Mike Potts, Tom Lippmann, Arden Blue, Darren S, and Maria Korolev. Woo! So obviously a massive thank you for supporting the channel. All those proceeds are towards that magical PC in the future, so we can upgrade our stream, upgrade the live streams, get those overlays, those fancy little bits that all the big boys have. So thank you very much for that, and it looks good for the future. Well, what has happened since the last For Your Morning Coffee? Obviously, we've continued to smash out the Gran Turismo Sport content, and it's doing really well. So in terms of the channel, it's improving. We hit our the first time in over 3 months, we hit like just breaking even with subscribers. The view time is in the green, the watch time's in the green, the subscribers are now in the green. It's really good. And the best part of it all, the last live stream we did, I think it was a top 200 around Sardinia, I think. Over nearly 20 minutes average watch time. It was in the 19s average watch time, which is insane. I think that's the most I've ever had for a live stream. So it's good to know that the live streams have been doing really well and they've been able to keep viewers. So I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing, basically. So those top 200 live streams where I try to get in the top 200 of the times around whatever track it is in the daily races seem to be doing really well. And also the last to first challenges, a lot of fun, and there's always some freaking drama that's been going on there. We also did the Lewis Hamilton DLC as well. We had our first go at it. We will get back to doing the second half, or trying to get some more platinums in the future. So keep your eyes out for that one. Just if you do care, I'm coming into the last 2 weeks of my current work schedule in America, coaching soccer. So I will be changing facilities, changing my environment, my situation in a couple of weeks as well. So I think that's just part of my job while I'm out here. Is just constantly change from place to place, and hopefully we can just keep that same content getting poured out to you guys, so it keeps you engaged. But fingers crossed, everything goes good, and that's going to be that. The second thing, the last thing about what happened is that it's Dylan's birthday. Well, it was Dylan's birthday yesterday, so happy birthday to her. And obviously the day before Valentine's. Yeah, fellas, yeah, you feel me. But no joint presents this year. I'm sure that'll come many, many years down the line. But anyway, let's talk about GT Sport. So, the first part of the World Series in 2020 is upon us. The World Tour is upon us. And the first stop is in Sydney. So, a lot of people I've seen on Twitter have all been like, oh, we're traveling over to there, blah, blah, blah. So, everyone's traveling over. Obviously, I think I saw Jimmy Broadbent. He had a 23-hour flight, which is ridiculous, but, you know, they're going there for a reason. They're going there to entertain us. So hopefully it's going to be good. A couple of rounds last year, I think, a couple of World Series events were a bit lackluster. But let's see. Let's talk about this one. Let's see if it's going to be interesting. But hopefully it will be fun. So there you go. There's the image for Sydney World Tour 2020, Saturday and Sunday, the 15th and the 6th. The 15th and the 16th. So here we go. Event overview. Last year, the calm and collected Mikhail Hizal dominated the FIA Gran Turismo World Finals with incredible skill and speed. And the year before that, Igor Fraga clinched the championship in dramatic fashion with a comeback still talked about to this day. Ready to enter its third action-packed year, the FIA Gran Turismo Championships will start the much-anticipated 2020 season down under in Sydney, Australia. The inaugural World Tour live event of the 2020 season will be held on February 15th and 16th at the Big Top, Sydney, located in Retro Amusement Park, Luna Park, Sydney. 50 of the best drivers from 18 countries, many from last season's World Finals, will be returning to compete. As with previous World Tour events, there will be two separate series, a Nations Cup with individual competitors and a Manufacturer Series where teams of 3 representing different car makers will battle it out. Former champions Igor Fraga and Mikhail Hizal will not be among the competitors for this first event, meaning that anyone can win and lay the foundations for a successful 2020 season. So basically they're saying that as soon as Hizal and Fraga turn up, no one else can win. So good wording, GTS, good wording. Anyway, it seems like a legit kind of thing. So we'll move on to the live broadcast. There you go. If you want to check in on it, obviously that is the Manufacturers is on the Saturday, which is 9 to 11:30 Pacific Standard Time, which I think is the middle of the US. And then Sunday, exactly the same. And there you go. Obviously, it'll be on YouTube somewhere. Look up that. So here we go. We'll go over the Manufacturer Series then. A qualifying session will be held with the 12 teams to determine the final starting grid positions from 7th to 12th. In Race 1 and the Grand Final, the 3 competitors from the same team will take turns on an endurance race. The winner of the Manufacturer Series will be determined by the cumulative points at the end of the Grand Final race. So you got qualifying there, which only one driver takes part of. So obviously you're just going to put in your fastest driver, basically. Race 1, 12 teams, 3 drivers alternating the grid order for this race based on the results of the previous race. So the qualifying, I would assume there. I don't know why it doesn't say just qualifying. And then exactly the same for the Grand Final, but it actually means what it says, and the race grid is based on the results of the previous race. So there you go. 2 races, which is, imagine if you were a driver. Imagine if you were a Gran Turismo, come to Sydney, and you go, and if you're just in the Manufacturer Series, you're doing, I don't know how long the races are going to be. We're going to come on to that soon, but only 2 races. You're flying all the way to Sydney, and you're only doing 2 races. Anyway, here are the 2 races. Obviously, you have the points breakdown just there. Double points for the second race to make it a little bit more exciting. Race number 1 is at Spa. You have the hard, medium, and soft. I would assume that they have to use all of them. 12 laps. 2 times fuel consumption and only 3 times tyre wear. And for the final, it's 2 times consumption for the fuel and 5 times tyre wear. And that is around Mount Panorama in the Group 3, and that is 20 laps. So pretty decent length to the races. And the fuel consumption is fantastic because then they don't need to worry about that. They just need to worry about being smooth because the tyres aren't really a factor either. So 2 big tracks, Spa and Bathurst. That should be pretty interesting. Shame it's only 2 races though. I will say that. Shame it's only 2 races. So here we go. Let's go through the drivers. You have Kenny Konomos from Australia, Vinicius, who has had a haircut. Unbelievable. This dude looked like a 45-year-old count from Transylvania before with his long hair. But he's had a haircut and he's lost about 20 years off of his life. Mr. NATO, great choice. Great life choice. And then you have Florent, the Frenchman, rounding off Jaguar. Moving on to Audi then. Hayden Hunter, Martin Grady, who apparently is a giant because he can't fit in the in the picture square. And then you have Kato from Japan. Interesting. I think Audi could be pretty strong there. Moving on to Porsche. Ango Inostroza from Chile. Tristan Bayliss from the United States. And Matthew Simmons from Australia. Hyundai, you have Augustin Cahal, Tatsuro Hoshino, and Connor Healy. Hyundai, well done for getting in. Jesus Mary. Alfa Romeo, you have the baby Hagrid himself, Daniel Solis from America, Alonso Regalado from Peru, and Shogo Yoshida, obviously a staple name. He's growing his hair out as well. Japan. Aston Martin, you have Takeda, Wong, and Saswillo, rounding out that manufacturer. Lexus, you have Kawakami, Brooks, and Beauvoir, another Frenchman there. Interesting. Look at the size of freaking Adam Saswillo's neck, by the way. That is a long-ass neck, but I'm rooting for you, fellow Brit. For Toyota, you have Yamanaka, Ryan DeRouche, Simon Bishop, and Mercedes-Benz, you have obviously Lukovsky, Cody from Australia, Valverde, Anthony Felix. Look at that dude, still rocking the curtains. Chevrolet, you have Mizuno, Mendoza, and McEwen, the 3 M's. Mizuno's fast. Didn't know he was with Chevrolet. Don't know what he's been with in the past, but who cares? Ford, Adam Wilk, the vampire from Australia. Armem Aga Khan and Adam Tapai from Hungary there, TRL driver. And lastly, BMW, Coco Lopez, Nicholas Rubelar, and Randall Hayward. They could be in with a shot. So my pick, who I think is going to do really well, I think Audi. I think Audi are going to do it. Laser Tidgney there, Martin Grady, he's shown that he can be very, very fast in qualifying. And I think with the Group 4, with the low tyre wear at Spa, so the TT, very fast in a straight line, and usually it's the tyre wear that, with those Group 4 cars, that really destroys Audi. So I think Audi are going to do very well, get themselves in a good position at the end of race 1. Race 2, I think they could do something. But let me know in the comment section below who you think is going to win the manufacturers, because we are going to move on to the Nations Cup. Here we go then, the layout for the Nations. You have qualifying, where drivers are split into 2 groups, Group A and Group B. Then you have 2 semi-finals, semi-final Group A, and then obviously semi-final Group B. The top 6 drivers from each semi-final will go into the last 12 races in the Nations Cup final. For a game that can have 20 races in the race, would that not be more of a spectacle to have 20 races in the final? Just my thought. I wonder what you think as well, but I know that it makes it harder on the commentators to make things interesting, but if you put 20 races in, make the races longer, then you can keep track of more stuff going on. Anyway, that's just my thought. You can have 20 cars, 20 races in a race. Why not? Especially if they're traveling all the way to Sydney. Make more people race. It's more fun. You see those massive grids on iRacing or Assetto Corsa where there's like 50, 60 cars. That's interesting to watch. That first lap is mad. And it would be a lot more mad and interesting and intense with 20 cars rather than 12. But anyway, that's that. Let's have a look at the races. The RE Armenia. That's that RX-7 looking mother. Around Kyoto Driving Park. Oh man, that just gives me shivers down my spine just thinking about it. 13 laps. 2 times fuel consumption. Tyre wear rate. 15 times. Oh my god. Why? Anyway, Nations Cup Race 2 is TBA. So, are they bringing in a new track? We haven't had an update for a while. Maybe. And then, obviously, the grand final Red Bull X 2019 competition car. So, that really, really fast one. 30 laps. Fuel consumption rate 2. Tyre wear 5. Really interesting. Really interesting. Let's move on to the drivers for the Nations Cup then. North America, Daniel Solis, Baby Hagrid. Let's go. So, one of the drivers, obviously, who has flown all this way to Sydney, Australia, and is getting to race 2 races. So, that's good. Good job, Daniel. Good job. Mark Pinnell. Rounding out the North America, who also looks like a vampire. Jesus Mary. Adam Wilkes and Mark Pinnell. Don't get left alone with them in a room. You will be coming out sucked dry. Blood, obviously. Central and South America, Nicholas Rubila. Obviously a very fast driver, but he's been very quiet over the last year, basically. And Alonso Regalado, so both of them racing in both manufacturers and nations. Asia, Takuma Miyazono, Jonathan Wong, and Tatsuya Sugawara from Japan, Hong Kong, and Japan. Oceania, obviously, Cody Lakovsky, Adam Wilk, Matthew Simmons, and Simon Bishop. Simon Bishop, what a character. There he is, Adam Wilk, the other vampire. Okay, so EMEA, Europe, Middle East, and Africa. You have Beauvoir, Derouge, Blajan, Mariglino, Lopez, Sassuilo, Gallo, Rodriguez, Kevalam. Am I saying that right? Yep. Kevalam, Bada, Brea, Lenoir. So French. And Tapai rounding it off there. So, interesting to see, well, mainly all the same faces. Can't really recognize anyone unrecognizable there. But my pick for it is obviously Cody Nikola Lukovsky. Obviously a fast boy, and without Fraga, without Hizal, I think he's just going to take it. Obviously, it's so dependent. It's so dependent on that qualifying. If you could be the fastest player, but if you have a bad qualifying and you start last, it is virtually impossible. So you could fly all the way. You could fly all the way to Sydney, have a bad qualifying, and be out. Done. But there we go. That is the FIA first World Tour Series events. Obviously, I picked Cody and I picked Audi for the winners of the two events. I wish there was more racing. But obviously, you can't have it all. Those are my picks. What do you think in the comment section below? And we'll move on to the next season, the pre-season of the FIA. So here we go then, on to the 2020 series pre-season. don't know why it's not just the season, but we're pre-season now, I guess, and there are 8 rounds in both the nations and the manufacturers. I'm pretty sure we're going to look at them now. Here is the layout for the Nations Cup. We have 8 rounds. 8 rounds. Yeah, 8 rounds. It says round 8. There we go. So a 1 make around Red Bull, Group 3 around Brands, N300 events around Maggiore, Group 1 around Dragon Trail. I didn't say Dragon Tail. I never say that. Group 3 around Catalunya. Group X around Monza. N200 around Suzuka. And Group 4 around Maggiore again. Whoa, couldn't choose all different eight different tracks. Couldn't do it. They tried. They nearly got there. They tried. Anyway, that's the 8 there. Obviously, that starts on Tuesday, the 18th. Moving on to the manufacturers pre-season. I don't know why I sang that. That's just weird. 8 rounds again. Group 4 around Spa. Group 4 around Fuji. Group 3 Interlagos. Group 3 Tokyo Expressway. Group 4 Maggiore. Group 3 Sardinia. Group 4 Red Bull. Group 3 Nürburgring. Or, you know, the GP or the Nordschleife. We don't know. That starts on Wednesday the 19th. So obviously they're going for the Tuesday, Wednesday, Saturday, Sunday, like they did in the last exhibition. Here's the thing. 1, are they going to implement any kind of change to the penalty system? Do you think they're doing a pre-season because the penalty system isn't right? Do you think they would have gone straight into the regular season if the penalty system wasn't as garbage as it is right now? I can't remember if there was a pre-season last year. There probably was. Let me know in the comments below. But obviously the penalty system needs to be sorted out. Obviously, it doesn't affect the World Series events because they don't have the contact penalties turned on. They just do stewards' inquiries, basically, don't they? So that is the Nations and the Manufacturers Series pre-season coming up for the next 4 weeks, basically. And I'm going with Renault. Which doesn't bode well for me in the manufacturers, seeming that Spa and Fuji are pretty fast tracks. They have a lot of straights, and the McGann Trophy, which I've chosen, which I've just been enjoying over the last couple of weeks playing in the daily races, it's not fast in a straight line. So hopefully I can just get in someone's suck and be fast through the corners. But qualifying is going to be difficult. I'm going to have the suck from someone. So there you go. That is the that is it. Okay, well, if you made it this far, well done. That is all the Gran Turismo Sport content. Little things with me now. What I've been playing off stream, just in my own time. I've been playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I just freaking love that game. I'm just taking my time. It's not near streaming. It's not near showing anyone. It's just for me. I've been 100% in it. I'm probably 5 or 6 hours into the game and just making sure I do every side quest, every little thing, every question mark on the map, because I want to get to the DLCs that I haven't got to, which are really cool. I've watched a little bit of gameplay, and obviously Hellblade as well. I'm just struggling to find time to get into it. It's kind of scary. It kind of messes with your brain, so you've got to be in the right frame of mind to play it, and I just haven't been in that right frame of mind, but I will get back to it. It's only like an 8-hour playthrough or something. I think I've done 2 or 3 hours, so probably about halfway through, but I've beaten 2 bosses in the game. I've just opened the gates to hell, so the next bit in that game should be pretty good. And finally, the RecSec is Pipeline. Once again, been really enjoying this podcast, becoming a streamer with Stone Mountain 64 and Snoopy, the founders of Pipeline. Really cool. They just talk to different live streamers about their journey, about what they think live streaming is or content creation is. And yeah, you should check it out. Check it out. I don't know if it's on YouTube. It's definitely on Spotify and other podcast things like that. So go have a look. It's really interesting. And last thing from me is up next, what's on the channel over the next week. I'm going to try and do this every week, every Friday. Saturday, there is nothing. Sunday, Super Sunday Cup hopefully returns for round 4. Monday, Top 200 live stream. Tuesday, we're back with FIA Nations Racing. Wednesday, Manufacturers Racing. Thursday, last to first challenge live stream. And then Friday is no stream. But you have your morning coffee. So that's next week. I hope you have a fantastic weekend. Drink some coffee, play some games, enjoy the World Series if you are watching it, and we'll see you in the next one.